Alright, so we're going to jump right into the homework. Numbers 1 and 2 wanted you to compare and say if each of these formed a proportion. So what you're doing is you're saying, are these fractions actually the same thing? Okay, well, 2 over 4 is equal to 8 over 12. I would start by dividing these by 4, because 4 goes into both, and this turns into 2 over 3. Now, is 2/3 the same as 2/4? No. So these are not a proportion. So I'm just going to put a big fat no right there. Okay, and then over here it looks like 3 goes into both of these, and if I divide both of these by 3, I'm going to get 3 over 4. So look, 3 over 4, 3 over 4, they match. So yes, these are a proportion. Okay. The next one is where we actually get to start solving, and there's a lot of these. So I'm going to move quickly, and you can always rewatch it if it's too quick, okay? But I crisscross this way and get 2 times x equals crisscross the other way, and I get 54. 2 times what equals 54? I'm going to divide both sides by 2 to help me out with that, and I'm going to get 54 over 2, or that would be 227. 27 would be my answer. Number 4, crisscross this way. 8 times 6 is 48. Recopy the equals. N times 2 is n times 2. You could either write n2 or 2n. Now 2 times what number is 48? That's the same thing as dividing by 2. So that would be a 24. Awesome. Okay, the next one is this corner times that bottom corner. 4 times 9 is 36. And then this bottom times this top. That's a 2 times an A. So that would just look like 2 A's. So 2 times what number is 36? Well, if you divide by 2, you're going to get, what is that, 18? Alright, so you should have got 18. This one right here, this corner times this corner is 6. Recopy the equals, and then 8 times x. Okay. 8 times some number is 6. Now you can't do that one in your head, so you have to divide by 8, and you get 6 over 8. So your answer is 6 over 8, or if you reduce that, let's see, 2 goes into both of these, so 3/4 would be another good answer. Alright, the next ones. Okay, number 7, we're going to do top corner to bottom corner and get 4b equals 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, so there's our crisscross. Now 4 times something is 15. You can't do that one in your head, so divide both sides by 4 to get the letter by itself, and your answer is 15/4. If you don't like an improper fraction, that would be 3 3/4. So if you did that, then that's the same thing. Okay, this corner times this corner is 6 times n equals this corner times this corner is 15. So 6 times something is 15. I can't do that in my head, so let me divide off the 6. There's my answer. If you don't like the improper, it would be 2, and what would that be? 2 1/2? 2 1/2, I think. Okay, number 9. This one times the bottom one is 10 times x equals another bottom to top, and I get 6. So 10 times something is 6. I can't do that in my head. Which one do I divide by? The one that's with the x. And the answer is 6 over 10. Now that does reduce because 2 goes into both of these. So either one of these is a good answer. Okay. I'll put or. Okay. And then over here, top to bottom, so b times 6. So you could write b times 6 or 6 times b. I always like to put my number in the front. And then 3 times 4 is 12. So 6 times what number is 12? Well, that one I can do in my head. So b is 2. Alright, so now we're down to 11 and 12. Now these are a picture, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the number on the left of the big shape over the bottom. So it's almost like this is the length over the width, so I'm going to do length over width of the big one. And then when I look at that small one, it's x over 6. Is that a 6 or an 8? What is that? That's a 6. Okay, so this is the picture that I have. And so now I'm going to figure out, how this works. So I'm going to cross multiply, okay? So 25 times 6. You may have to do that out to the side of your paper, but the answer to that is 150. And then 30 times x is 30x. And then it becomes 30 times what is 150? Well, some of you may already know the answer. If you don't, just divide it off. And 150 divided by 30 is actually 5. And you could do that out to the side if you didn't know that, but the answer is going to be 5. Number 12, it's a triangle, but it's the same idea. So on the first triangle, I'm going to do the long side over the short side. Those are the two pieces that it looks like we're doing. So the long side is 12, and the short side next to it is 6. And then I'm going to move over to that baby triangle and do the long side of the baby triangle over x, just like that. And then we do the same thing. We cross multiply. So 12 times x equals 6 times 6. 12 times what equals 36? Well, 12 times 3 equals 36. So now you know the missing side of that. All right, cool. Only thing left is word problems. I'm not going to write these all out. I'm just going to talk about what we're comparing. I see the word tall and I see the word wide. So that looks like we're going to be comparing that. So the first triangle says it's 4 tall and 16 wide. And then now it says the width is going to be 4. So that needs to go on bottom because wide goes on bottom. And it says how tall will it be? So that's the missing one that goes on top. So now when you cross multiply, you get 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times x is 16x. Okay, well guys, 16 times what number is 16? Well, 16 times 1 is 16. So my answer to that one is 1. And if this is a word problem, we should label it. So let's call that, what was that, inches? So we'll say 1 inch tall. And that would be a better way to answer a word problem. All right, number 14. So we're talking about a size of a photo, and if you read the problem, it's comparing width and height, okay? So this dude has a photo, and it's a width of 18. So a width of 18. Then the next sentence says, what is the height? So that's why we'll put a height. If the original one was 2 tall and 3 wide. 2 tall and 3 wide. So tall and height would be the same thing in this problem. If you put, so that's why I put the 2 on the bottom. So just read your problem 2 or 3 times. Sometimes it takes a couple times to read it to know where to stick the numbers. But it should look something like this, or you may have it flip-flopped. You may have put x over 18 and 2 over 3. That's okay. We will get the same answer. We will, I promise. That's a 36, and then when I crisscross the other way, it's a 3x, and I'm getting 12. So hopefully you got the same thing, even if you wrote it and flip-flopped the original. Same thing over there. Any of these, if you flip-flopped them, we should still get the same answer. And so this is going to be inches, 12 inches. What were they asking me for? Height, tall. All right, and only 2 more. Number 15. Number 15, currency. Okay, currency is money, all right? So it says $1 for 3 tala. So we're comparing monies to something called a tala. If you don't know what it is, that's okay, but here's what it would look like. $1 for 3 talas. And it says, how many dollars would you get if you exchanged 18 tala? So this one up here, the money is what they're asking, so that's my unknown. And so it would look something like this. So this corner times this corner is 18 equals this corner times this corner is 3x. Now 3 times what is 18? 6, right? 3 times 6 is 18. So my answer is 6, and this was dollars, right? So I need to label it with dollars. All right, last one, number 16. Amanda reduced the size of a triangle to a height of 3. What is the new width? So we're comparing heights and widths. So I'm just going to do h over w, okay? The height is 3. The width we don't know. And it says the original was 15 tall and 10 wide. So I put the tall up here with h. I put the wide down here with w. And now we can solve our proportion. 15 times what equals 30? 15 times 2. So it should be 2 inches. What were we looking for here? Width, 2 inches wide. So that's how I would answer that. Alright, cool. So I can totally help you if this went weird for you. Either shoot me an email or talk to me in tutorials. But hopefully it went okay. Like I said, this is kind of a big deal for the next couple years of your life. So hopefully you start to get pretty good at it. Alright, later.